You may have heard people refer to today as Back to the Future Day because today is the day the two main characters in Back to the Future 2 are scheduled to arrive when they go into the future.
Yeah, and obviously to film a movie set in the future, you have to make some predictions as to what life will be like during that time. So Delmarva Life's Sean Stryker spent the day driving around with a Back to the Future fan, one you may recognize, to discuss what the movie got right, what it got wrong, and what it missed altogether.
Back to the Future, a sci-fi trilogy released in the late 80s, early 90s that follows a teenage boy and a zany scientist as they travel through time. In the second installment, the pair travels 26 years into the future to October 21st, 2015. Yep, they're scheduled to arrive today. Their vehicle for this journey, a modified DeLorean, a car more recognized for its role in the film than being a practical, everyday driver.
Have you ever seen a car like that, Sammy? Never?
Do you think this car was right for the movie?
Yes. It fit the movie perfectly.
It's estimated that there are about 6,500 DeLoreans still on the road today. One of them just happens to belong to WBOC's Mid-Shore Bureau Chief, Tyler Butler. Him and I drove around in his unique ride to talk about how the movie did predicting what life would be like today.
It had some, I guess, bold predictions in the movie.
One or two.
And some hit right on, some were misses. I want to talk about the misses first.
Okay.
And I guess the first thing is they predicted flying cars.
Yeah, and as you can see, we're not flying. I do not have a flying DeLorean. Oh, how I wish I did.
Another thing, weather control.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we can't control the weather, especially here on Delmarva.
No.
It's so unpredictable.
Yeah, that was, you'll remember when they first arrive in Hill Valley, Doc says, wait 2 seconds, and then the weather just stops. It would be nice, I'm sure the farmers would agree, that it would be nice if you could just sit there and plan out how the day's going to go weather-wise. A little bit of rain at 10, a little bit of sun at noon, something like that. That'd be nice.
And then other things they did weren't complete misses, like the hoverboard. They are, I mean, they're kind of on track to developing hoverboards, aren't they?
Yeah, hoverboards have been one of those pieces of technology that companies have been striving to create for a while, just for this movie. And then you've got sort of pseudo hoverboards, like you got that little Segway.
Two-wheel thing.
I don't know what it's called, but people are calling it a hoverboard. Call it a hoverboard, so that's what it is.
Another thing that they predicted, and they could be right, we don't know yet, is the Cubs winning the World Series. And back then it was a joke because they were so bad. So they said the Cubs win the World Series, but little did they know that they were actually still be playing in the playoffs.
Absolutely. So, and you know, they're still going, and Bob Gale, the guy who actually wrote Back to the Future, he's a Cardinals fan, so, you know, he's a little bit probably gutted that the Cardinals lost.
Now, really what blows my mind is what they nailed right on the head. There were some that they just, I mean, they couldn't have been more right. And they were talking about flat screen TVs, like I said, over 20 years ago.
And also they predicted that we'd have a bajillion TV channels, which we definitely have that too.
We do that.
On the same flat screen, they do a little video conferencing call, and Marty actually gets fired in the future via video conferencing, and actually that has very much come true. I mean, every day when I come into work, I video conference the station on Skype to pitch my stories for the day. So Skype and video conferencing, that actually has come true.
But there are some things that they just missed completely, that they didn't even, I guess, they didn't even think about. And you know, in the movie, what was funny was they use payphones. I can't even think of the last time that I saw a payphone.
So yeah, they didn't see smartphones coming, and didn't see the internet coming at all. No references to the internet at all in Back to the Future 2.
The biggest prediction of all is that people would arrive today from the past. But I guess there's still time left for that to come true.
And with all the recent hype surrounding the Back to the Future trilogy, one can't help but to wonder if there's a possibility for a fourth movie. While some of the actors have expressed interest in multiple interviews, the writer and director have said that it's highly unlikely.
Oh my goodness, what would they talk about?